Okay, so I've been thinking about the design and I think I'm gonna drop the garter belt all together. I tried on a bunch of my garter belts and my underwear that I already have in my collection just to see like where the overlap is and stuff like that. I just don't think I can get the swag detail in on the underwear in a way that I can wear the garter belt over top of it. So I think I'm just gonna get rid of the garter belt completely because it's not like I wear garter belts anyway, and just focus on the underwear. So I've decided that I wanted to use the Vera panties from Studio Costura's shop. I'll pop up a picture over here of what they look like sewn up. And the reason that I wanted to do these, well, normally they have bra straps that connect the front to the back. What I'm going to do is I'm going to have the swag of the chiffon connect the front to the back. I'm probably going to still have the bra straps underneath it as the support, but what you're going to see is the chiffon swag on the exterior and then the roses on there. So I think that'll be a nice cute little detail, and it will tie in the bra as well. So I've only made the Vera panties once as a sample for bra builders, and I've never made them for myself. I don't have the pair that I made up to compare to, but from what I remember, they did not fit me particularly well. So just like I do for every underwear pattern, I'm going to need to make some drastic adjustments to this to work with my size. So I got my handy dandy chart over here where I've taken all of my measurements. I keep this with me all the time, and it's super helpful when I'm like redoing panty patterns because I just have all the numbers here ready to go. So I think these are not meant to be full or high-waisted. So if I wanted them to go up to my natural waist, I would need 29 inches front to back. So I'm going to do these more of like a hipster style. So I'm going to drop it 3 inches down. So instead of 29 inches, I'm going to take 3 from the front and 3 from the back. And what I get is 23 inches. So my total rise needs to be 23 inches. In the front, let's see, my normal one is 11.5 minus 3, so I need 8.5 inches in the front and back. And then, let's see, that gives me 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. So if the front and back are 8.5 inches, that gives me a total of 17. And 23 minus 17 equals 18, 19. The gusset needs to be 5 inches long. Okay, so that's my plan. So let's start measuring. The back one should be 8.5 inches. And we got 8.5 inches bang on, so I don't need to make any adjustments to the back. The front, 6 inches. Okay, so I need to lengthen the front of my pattern piece, and I need to lengthen it by 2.5 inches. So I am going to draw a straight line through this. I'm going to do my vertical line as well, so I have my markers to know where to line things up. Okay, so now I just need to insert some fabric in there for 2.5 inches. So drawing a straight line, then drawing another straight line 2.5 inches away. So you can see that vertical line that I draw in there just to help me keep a line so that this one is continuing at a straight line with this one, so they're not like shifted side to side or anything like that. So now that I have that in, I can redraw this curve. Okay, so there's my new front. And if I measure it just to be sure, it should have 8.5. Yep. And my back is still 8.5. So now I just need to make sure that this one is 5 inches once sewn. It is just under 5 inches now, but of course there's going to be seam allowances. So I'm going to add an extra inch to my gusset. And then that should give me a better pair of underwear. Okay, and now I should have this underwear pattern worked out and I can cut it out of my materials. Unfortunately, the rest of the footage from this video does not have any audio on it, so I am recording this as a voiceover after the fact because I don't have enough materials to resew everything. The main material used for my panty is a stretch satin material, and I purchased this from Spandex World. It is mostly nylon with just a little bit of spandex, so it takes acid dyes incredibly well. So I purchased several yards of this in just white, and then I can dye it any color that I want. So for the color I'm using here is a combination of Sunshine Yellow from Pro Chemical and Honey Mustard from Dharma Trading Company. Again, both of those being acid dyes. The main elastics that I'm using is just Honey Mustard, so it does look a little bit darker, but I wanted to make sure that the fabric itself matched closer. So I've cut both of the front and back out of a single layer of that stretch satin. This stuff works incredibly well in underwear, and so I don't need to line it at all. For the gusset, I've cut it out of a layer of stretch satin as well as a layer of just cotton material. The first thing that we're going to do is combine the front and back with the gusset piece itself. So I'm going to lay the gusset with the right sides facing up. So in my case, it's the really, really shiny side. And I want to align the straight side of the gusset with the front of my Vera Panties pattern. Again, I went right sides facing together for this. And I'm going to go ahead and pin that into place. Then I want to take my cotton gusset piece and place that on top. So you should have the front of the panty sandwiched in between the two gusset pieces. Again, rearranging my pins so that I have all 3 layers pinned together. Then I'm going to turn this around to the other side. I'll fold back the cotton and I'll roll my front piece out of the way, exposing my rear gusset side. Now I'm going to take my back piece, again, putting it right sides together so shiny sides are touching each other, and I'm going to pin this in the middle first and then work out towards the ends of my back piece. This one can be a little bit trickier just because we're working with 2 opposing curves, but you'll get there in the end, and it doesn't take too many pins because it's a relatively short length of seam. Once that's pinned into place, again, I like to roll this up so I have my 2 little burritos, and then I can take my cotton piece and stretch it all the way across, again pinning that into place along the rear gusset seam. I'm going to take this over to my machine and sew with a zigzag stitch along both of those edges. Once it's stitched into place, it should look something like this. Now we can flip this all out to the right sides, and you should have the cotton gusset on the inside and then an all satin exterior. I really like using this method because it does give you a clean finish on both edges of the gusset, and you don't have any exposed seam allowances. Now we're going to go ahead and finish the leg hole edges of this panty with our fold over elastic. Now I have both of my leg hole edges finished with fold over elastic. I've also finished the front side. I've left about 1 inch extra of fold over elastic, which will allow for the rings to attach on. On the back, unfortunately, I did not have enough fold-over elastic, but I did have a bunch of picot left over from the bra, so I went ahead and used the picot on the back just so that I didn't have to re-dye anything additional. It looks fine. It may make the back about 3/8 of an inch shorter, but I don't think that should be a huge deal. So now we're going to go together and make our bra strap sides, which is really what brings the side of this panty together. I'm going to cut a bra strap about 10 inches long, and I'm going to have 2 of them at that length. Now I'm going to add rings and sliders onto this exactly as if I was making a bra strap. So rings and slider, and then to finish it off, I'll add an additional ring on the free edge as well. So you'll have a ring at both ends of the strap piece. Here's what the straps look like when they're finished. So just like a very short traditional bra strap with that additional ring on the end. I like putting the ring by itself towards the back and the slider towards the front. That way I can adjust my size as I'm wearing the underwear themselves. So with those extra tails of fold-over elastic that I left on the front, I'm just going to thread the right through, fold it over and stitch it into place, and then on the back ring we'll connect to the tails along the back of the Vera panty. So once that's done, it has something that looks like this. Now, if you're just making a traditional Vera panty, that would be all you needed to do. But of course, this is the Disney Bounding in the Bedroom project, so I had to amp it up just a little bit. So very similarly to the bra, I measured myself from hip point to hip point all the way around the back of my body. And then I added an extra sort of 8 inches to allow me to have some swag material. And I cut this out of my silk chiffon going on the bias, going 12 inches wide and 34 inches long. So that was hip point to hip point while wearing the underwear. It's very important you make sure you understand how long it needs to be when the underwear is worn, just not sitting on the table, because it definitely makes a difference. For this long piece of chiffon, I'm going to sew it up with a serger, and then that leaves me with a tube. I can turn the tube inside out to completely encase all of my seams. So just like we did on the bra, I'm going to go ahead and sew in some basting stitches in the dead center of my tube, as well as the 2 tippy ends. The dead center will be the center back of the swag this time, and so I want to make sure that one looks really, really pretty. I'm not going to be putting a rose in the back, but I want to make sure that the gathers look nice and even. Once the basting stitches are put into place, we can tie off the top of the basting stitches just to make sure that they don't slip out, and secure them. And then we can go to the bobbin thread and pull on it so you get a nice even gather. This gives you the prettiest way of gathering it, and then I'm going to go ahead and tie off my bottom as well to secure it into place. Once I've done that, I'm going to take this over to the machine and run a straight stitch at a regular length back and forth over my gathers, just to secure them so that they're not going to go anywhere. And I'm going to repeat that for the center front as well as the 2 ends. So here you can see it's been gathered and stitched into place, and now we can sort of add that to the panty itself. I'm going to go to the center back first by folding my back piece so I can find where the center is on there and marking it with a pin. Then I take my chiffon and overlay it on top, pin it into place. I'm going to run a straight stitch on my machine back and forth to secure that. It looks fine. I don't see any issues with it. And then on the front, I will attach it again, just on the fabric side of the rings and sliders. I want to make sure I still have that adjustability on the side, but the gathers will sort of cover it up so you don't really see it once it's worn. It's okay that I have a little bit of raw materials here, just because I'm going to use these sort of roses to cover this up in the end, so it's not going to be something that you see once the finished project is done. And here it is with the swag sewn into place. It's a little bit hard to tell just by laying on the mat, because the swag looks like it dips down so low, but once you get like your body in there and hips and sort of pushes everything out, I think it's going to look really, really good. The last and final step, of course, is to add on my roses. So I have 2 more roses left over, and I'm going to be putting those at the 2 hip points where the chiffon is attaching to the underwear. So just like I did before, I'm going to be cutting off the very stems of those roses so that they sit as flat as possible. So now I'm just going to use some E6000 glue to attach the roses to the bottoms. I put a generous amount on the back of this. Again, make sure that you're in a ventilated space just because the fumes can be quite oppressive. And then just attach them directly onto the underwear. This glue takes about 72 hours to cure completely, so make sure that you don't wear it or stretch anything while you're waiting for the glue to completely secure. And that finishes off my Belle underwear and completes my Disney Bonding in the Bedroom Belle set for Beauty and the Beast. I hope you guys have enjoyed this look at the construction process of putting together Belle from Beauty and the Beast. Make sure that you are subscribed to my channel and like and comment down below, as it really helps me out on the YouTube algorithm. I'll see everybody next time. Take care.